we are back on the build phase. I'm your host, Mr. Ben, and today we are going to talk about Christmas in July, the new Dice Throne Kickstarter that was just revealed earlier today. Now, this video is like 2 minutes long, so I'm not going to sit here and watch the video right now, but I do want to scroll down and do an overview of this product. I will absolutely be doing a hero breakdown on how to play these heroes and what my speculation is on how good they're going to be within the meta. Add that onto the list of hero breakdowns right after all the other ones I need to get to. But that will be coming at some point, and it's not going to be today. So the big reveal is that the new Dice Throne Kickstarter is going to be Santa versus Krampus. It's going to be a 2-player box. So this is a little bit smaller than previous Kickstarters that they have run. Most recently, the Marvel Dice Throne Kickstarter is still in fulfillment right now, and that featured 8 complete heroes. This is going to have 2. So this is a step down in overall scale. This says hoping to be delivered by Christmas of 2022. In my opinion, that feels ambitious. That feels really ambitious with how things have been over the last couple of years. That said, I don't think they would put that there if they didn't think they could hit it. To me, I will not be sad if I don't see this product in my hands until 2023, just because of the state of the world. That being said, if this showed up by Christmas, that would be amazing. So we get a look at the Santa Claus board here. Now, right up front, I want to say this is not the Santa Claus print and play that has been circulating for some number of years. The Santa Claus print and play that the Dice Throne team put out is a reskin of the Barbarian. It just changes how the Barbarian's cards and board look, but it is just the Barbarian. The Santa that's being featured here is not that. This is an entirely new character. You can see the dice faces here are not the Barbarian dice faces. So this is not a reskin. This is both Santa and Krampus are completely new characters. So they have a pretty quick breakdown here on how to play Dice Throne on the Kickstarter, all featuring the specific heroes that are going to be in this 2-hero pack, which makes good sense. I'm not going to spend a lot of time as far as how this looks on how to play the game. I think this is a very fair summary. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that. Established players that have been around for a while are going to realize there's a little more to just rolling and activating abilities than that sentence. Every ability is kind of its own rules question. That said, this is a very good, I think, introduction to the game with regard to somebody who is coming to this Kickstarter. How does this game play? I'm unfamiliar with Dice Throne. This is a very fair breakdown. Skipping the how to play video, and now we get down into Santa. Now at some point I am going to go over all the stuff and do a whole hero breakdown on how Santa plays. Suffice to say, if you look at this in every way, there's no mistaking. There's different status effects. This is not going to be mistaken as the Barbarian, so even a cursory examination of it. One card in particular that's gotten some attention, and I think rightfully so, is this extremely naughty card, which requires your opponent to apologize for being so naughty. I think that's really funny. Similarly, there's a breakdown here for Krampus where it shows you a bunch of stuff that's going on with this board. Particularly, it gives you a good look at some of his rejects here. Now, the rejects are the character-specific mechanic where Krampus is able to enlist the assistance of toys that didn't make the cut and help him out on the battlefield in a variety of ways. We got a really good look here at both characters' dice. Again, you can see this is not... I know I keep hitting this Barbarian point, but I've encountered it so much in the wild that people don't realize that this is a wholly unique character and not just a reprinted Barbarian, so I wanted to make sure to pound that drum a few times. I like the looks on both of these dice, although as far as the swirled dice are concerned with regard to Dice Throne, historically speaking, this swirl effect is maybe some of the most muted swirl effect we've seen on any of the dice. Now, maybe that's just the CGI render, but the red with the slightly darker red, this doesn't pop the way like the Huntress dice do or the Moon Elf dice. So I don't know if this is a new technique they're trying to bring to this specific character set where these dice are going to have a little bit more of a kind of muted swirl effect, or if this is just the render and once we see the real dice they're going to be a little bit different. Okay, we also have fully painted minis. Now, in the FAQ, I think it says there is no plans to release these as unpainted minis. So while the other heroes came both painted and unpainted, this is what you're going to get if you want these for Dice Throne Adventures. Now, this is actually the part of this campaign I think I might be most excited about. Obviously, I'm excited for new characters, but I'm even more excited to see some of the unappreciated, underutilized characters from season 2 getting some love. So these 3 hero pamphlets are going to be essentially buffs for Vampire Lord, Tactician, and Huntress. They're going to change the way the status effects on those characters work, and ultimately it's going to make them more competitive. These changes are being done, this update is being done specifically with an eye on the tournament scene and trying to give these characters a little bit more of an edge, a little bit of a bump with regard to their performance in the most competitives of metas. If you're just playing Dice Throne with your family around the kitchen table, this probably doesn't affect you a whole lot unless you happen to really enjoy one of these heroes. But for those of us that play in the tournaments and think about this game in terms of a competitive angle, this is a really big deal. Particularly this 3 damage for 1 blood power on the Vampire Lord, I think is a really big deal. But I'll break down that stuff at some point in the future as well. So now we get down into the pledge levels. Now, this is not my favorite part of Kickstarter. I know part of Kickstarter culture is, oh, we need to have a million different tiers and all these different whoosy whatsits and bells and whistles. I just want the game, and I like that we have here the game plus the mythic cards, the promo cards, the stuff that you need just so that these heroes are on the same playing field as all the other heroes. I like that they offer that in kind of a stripped down version. Now here's a slightly more expensive version of kind of just the basics, but includes the minis. And while the Dice Throne sleeves aren't my favorite thing for this, due to the specific reason of I play on webcam a lot, and therefore I'm not a big fan of glossy sleeves because it makes it harder for my opponent to see my cards. I have to think about my lighting a little bit more than I do with matte finish sleeves. So I use matte sleeves for that reason. But if I didn't have to think about lighting and my opponent's ability to read my cards, the sleeves that Dice Throne give you for these heroes are actually really, really nice. My brother got the hero sleeves for his season 1 and 2, and I got the boss sleeves for Dice Throne Adventures, and I love them. They feel great, they shuffle really well, and man, they're gorgeous. But they're glossy, and that makes it tough for me to justify use in my most common use case, which is playing tournaments over webcam. One thing people observed with the Marvel Dice Throne Kickstarter is that there was no way for somebody who was new to the Dice Throne ecosystem to be able to go back and collect all the stuff. We don't know totally for sure, but I think it's fair to speculate that the Marvel Kickstarter wanted to be just Marvel stuff, and that's why they couldn't offer any kind of an all-in bundle. Particularly knowing how these types of bundles are so popular within Kickstarter culture, it did feel like a missed opportunity at the time, and now here we have that. While the iron is hot, while everybody is super hyped for the Marvel Dice Throne that's showing up in their mailboxes last week, or in my case tomorrow, now here's the way for you to get all the rest of the stuff all at once and have heavily subsidized shipping while you do it. While I do love Dice Throne, this is a chonky game. This is a thick boy game, and it is going to cost you some significant outlay for shipping if you buy this piecemeal, which is exactly what I did. So I speak from experience. So having the ability for a player to come in here and get Season 1 and 2 adventures, as well as the Santa Krampus, this tier of this Kickstarter is absolutely just bullet point targeted at the Marvel Dice Throne supporter who now realizes, oh man, this is fantastic. I need everything this game has to offer. There is also the whole, what they called it something funny, the whole sleigh. The whole sleigh version, which this will get you from 0 to literally everything. You get the playmats, you get dice trays, you get all the figures painted, you get all the sleeves. This would be a very Merry Christmas to open that one up. So let's scroll down here a little bit more and look at some more of these add-ons. Now, I already mentioned the sleeves. The sleeves are very nice, but it depends on what you're using them for, if you can tolerate glare on glossy sleeves or not. I also really like this traditional card back sleeve. I've always kind of been a fan of putting the card in a sleeve that protects it, but still having the flair of the game you're playing. I think that's really cool. I could see myself picking up a couple packs of these, maybe for a specific event where I'm at a store or something where it's not over a webcam and I don't have to be so obsessed with the glare. You do have the ability to get the promo pack, which if you maybe aren't into Santa and Krampus as characters, but you want a little more spice to add into your Dice Throne adventures, that's where you get Santa's Workshop. I think that's where all the Dice Throne Adventure stuff, the new minions, the new loot is going to be. We don't know what some of that stuff is. In fact, I'm going to scroll down here real quick. We don't know what all of it's going to be yet because we have this very cool advent calendar style graphic that presumably they're going to be opening these up each day of the Kickstarter. And thus far, the first update, they only opened this up and showed us one piece of loot and the Dice Throne difficulty, which is a level of difficulty that's designed for people to play with their kids or people who don't really want. Dice Throne Adventures can be a punishing experience. I know those of us who have kind of learned it and gotten through that introductory level might go, well, do we need easy mode? Hey man, if somebody wants to play Dice Throne Adventures and they don't want to get beat up, I still want to play Dice Throne Adventures with them. So I like that they're making it an official easy mode to make life a little bit easier for people who are playing with kids or people who don't like being beat up by their board games. Not everybody's an Arkham Horror fan, as well as we've seen this one piece of loot. So we know that stuff is coming. I'm guessing that stuff is going to be contained within the promo pack. And here, yeah, all right, it's spelled out right there. I scrolled past that part. The minis I already talked about a little bit. I can speak from experience that the painted miniatures for Season 1 and 2 look really cool. I like them a great deal. I also like the standees. So I don't think the minis are necessarily absolutely required to still be able to enjoy Dice Throne Adventures, but they look very nice. I like this playmat. Now, I've thus far done pretty good at resisting the urge to buy into the Dice Throne playmat ecosystem because these playmats are a little bit different size than all my other playmats. That said, one of the tournaments that I ran, a playmat was a prize for that, so I have had one of these pass through my hands, and man, they feel really good. So if one was going to get me, I don't know if it's this one or not, but high marks on the playmats, although again, I have so many already, I have a hard time getting into it. Now this dice tray I'm actually really interested in. So I have purchased the previous Dice Throne dice trays, and they're fine, and they are getting a little chipped up though. It's kind of a plastic surface to them, and as you throw your dice, the artwork does start to chip, and I don't necessarily mind that because that just is like, hey, my games get played. They're going to show a little wear and tear. That's the love. That's the way I interface with the hobby. That being said, this heavy-duty dice tray that's held together with magnets that looks really good, I like it a lot. I think this looks really neat. Now, I wish the logo, and I hope in the final product the actual Dice Throne logo is a little more prominent, a little bit bigger, takes up a little more real estate in this thing overall. But if we're going to look at this next item, I think having a dice tray that's a little bit heavier duty than the ones that I've already got is probably in order, and that is metal dice. Now, $25 for a set of dice, and this is an upgrade set. So you're buying the hero, and then on top of what you're paying for the 2 hero pack, you're going to be buying these metal dice. If you play D&D and you know a set of metal D&D dice is probably like $50, $25 for a set of 5 dice for your new hero. I mean, everybody has to decide for themselves how to spend their money. I can totally understand people looking at this and going, wow, that's like a lot. That costs a 2 hero pack costs the same as one set of these upgrade dice. So to upgrade a whole 2 hero pack, you're looking at $50 for dice plus the 25, historically speaking, and this 2 hero pack is 35. So I get the criticisms about price. All of that being said, if this comes out on the Dice Throne store and I have the ability to upgrade my Shadow Thief dice to metal dice, or my Ninja dice for my son to metal dice, people who have a main hero, people who have an affinity for playing one character a lot, which isn't everybody, and you know, if you like to play everything, that's cool, but if you really, kind of like I do, focus on the one play pattern, the one hero that really resonates with what you want to be doing in the game, being able to upgrade those dice to metal seems so sweet. So I'm struggling a little with the idea of, do I want to upgrade Santa and Krampus? Like, are these the heroes that I want to make this investment in? I'm not sure. And if these don't sell well as part of the Kickstarter, that probably means we won't be seeing them for other heroes. And I really I will 100% pay $25 for a metal set of Shadow Thief dice, and I won't even feel bad about it. So I think this is cool. I really hope that they think about bringing this type of upgrade experience to the Dice Throne store and not. Kickstarter has some limitations, and the amount of time that it's available for people to get involved in it is one of those limitations. Now, other Dice Throne products that have gone through the Kickstarter process have come out the other end and are available either at retail at your friendly local game shop, support your local game stores, or from the Dice Throne store. But I don't know if that's going to be true for everything they do. And man, these metal. Give me some Shadow Thief metal dice. Come on, guys. You got it. You got it. So the rulebook is available for download, of course. I already kind of talked about the promo pack. And then we're down into shipping. Now, if you know anything about the global shipping situation, the idea that they're going to be able to ship you the whole sleigh, which is Dice Throne Adventures, Seasons 1 and 2, the Santa Krampus thing, all those miniatures, that the shipping for that would be $20 or $100 rather. Sorry, in Zone 4, we're talking out to Alaska. These shipping rates are clearly being subsidized either by Roxley or by Dice Throne. I don't know exactly what it is, but this is really reasonable shipping by today's rates. I know paying $20 on top of your product to get it shipped to you feels kind of annoying, but there's no way that's the actual bottom line for shipping these weights and these sizes, because Dice Throne is a very bulky game. So I think that, all right, I'm not going to get into all the details down here at the bottom, but I do want to say, again, fulfillment, they're hoping to start in December of 2022. If we're looking at Marvel Dice Throne fulfillment as an example, this was going to be a 4-week process. I think we're in week 3 right now, and I don't have mine, but my buddy who lives just a few miles from me got his 2 weeks ago. So will we see this by Christmas of this year? I am not going to pin my hopes on it, but it would be wonderful to have my pessimistic expectations violated by this thing actually showing up in time for Christmas. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. So overall, how do we feel about Santa versus Krampus Dice Throne Kickstarter? Clearly, I'm all in. I'm a shill for Dice Throne. I'm a huge fan of this game. While these characters, like if I was going to pick 2 characters out of folklore to make a game around, Santa and Krampus would not be at the top of my list. However, the team behind Dice Throne has proven repeatedly that they can take whatever the characters are and make the game mechanics fun. And I think anybody who's hung up on the coat of paint, like, oh man, Santa, who cares? You're kind of missing the point in a certain way. No, I will say that anybody who the way they interface with games is heavily thematic, and the idea of playing Moon Elf as a character is really important to them. That is also valid. I think that's fine. I do care about themes in games. But in this game in particular, what I think makes Dice Throne so special is the mechanics and the gameplay. And no matter what the coat of paint is, for one, it's going to look gorgeous because all of Manny's art looks gorgeous. But for 2, the game design underneath, under the hood, the moment-to-moment feeling while you're playing the game, I have 100% faith that is going to be nailed all the way. So again, everybody's entitled to their feelings, and we're all entitled to be the type of game enthusiasts and hobbyists that we are. But for my money, what makes Dice Throne so good is how good the mechanics are. And this coat of paint, while it's totally gorgeous, it is borderline irrelevant to me in terms of how much fun me and my friends are going to have. So that kind of sums up the Dice Throne Christmas in July reveal that happened today. Again, I want to do deep dives on both of these heroes based on the information we got within the Kickstarter, and that'll be coming at a future date at some point. All right, go on some games.